So my first year of college is almost over, which is really weird because it feels like it just started. It's just crazy to think that my freshman year is almost done, and it has been one of the most fun and exciting years of my life, and I've learned so much. And I just wanted to make a video talking about all the things that I learned from my first year of college because I think it'd be cool to look back on. So obviously I'm going to college to get a degree, and I'm getting a business management degree. And while I've learned a lot in my classes, I feel like I learned infinitely more outside of my classes with just like life experiences. First of all, I'm going to talk about a couple little practical things. So the first thing is I did not need as many things as I brought to school. Like, I brought so many clothes, so many like little things, and my room started to feel kind of cluttered right away. And so next year I'm definitely going to be bringing less things with me to school. I also, I sat down with my roommate Addie for this year before we started school, and we talked about like all of our boundaries and expectations and everything, and like things that we wanted out of the other person as a roommate. And we kind of made some rules like, oh, we'll make sure to text each other before like inviting a friend over to our room, making sure it's cool with the other person. We talked about our sleep schedules, and I'm just really glad that we did that because I feel like it made the experience really enjoyable and drama-free. And so I will definitely be like making sure to do that in the future with anyone that I'll be living with, because communication is just so important, and just laying down those boundaries and expectations before moving in, I think, is just very healthy, and it makes for less bumps in the road along the way with living with that person. So those are a couple practical things I learned, and then these are now more like kind of the life lessons that I've learned and that I'm learning. So the first really big like life lesson that I've learned is that life is what you make it. And that sounds really cliche, but I'm just realizing that I do not want to live a passive or reactive life. I want to actively be making choices to create the kind of intentional life that I want to live. And so I've gotten really good at asking myself, why not? In college, I definitely started saying yes more to doing things that maybe I wouldn't have done before. I'm talking to more people that I would be scared to talk to before, like strangers or random people I meet in the middle of the day, and just learning to strike up conversation with people that I don't know has been like such a cool thing, and I've met some really cool people and made some friends through that. I feel like I've gotten pretty good at that, and I wasn't really comfortable with that before, and I think that's like a life skill that I'm gonna carry with me hopefully for the rest of my life. I think it's really important to like make connections wherever you go. It's just like, it's a good way to make friends, or you never know who can help you with something later on in life. And so I'm just trying, everywhere I go, I try to just make connections with people to just kind of expand my, like, kind of the social web in my life. Another cliche thing that I've kind of internalized, that's gone from my head to my heart, is treating people the way I want to be treated. And so I'm realizing sometimes, like, if I'm in a social situation where maybe I don't really know anyone, and I'm feeling kind of like scared or lonely, and I would want someone to like come up to me or say hi to me or invite me to like sit with them or something like that. I try to be that person. Like, if I see someone that maybe is by themselves in like an environment that they've never been before, I try to just like do what I would want in that situation. And so I go up to them and I'm like, hey, like, have you been here before? You know, where are you from? Like, can I get your number? Anyways, I've really been trying to like treat people in social situations the way I know I would want to be treated if I was in their situation. Another really big lesson that I've learned from college is that life is just way too short to not be myself, like completely myself. I've always struggled just a little bit, and I think probably everybody has, with just being fully myself in social situations, because I'm afraid that like other people are going to think I'm weird or not funny or, whatever. And I realized in college, like, when I am being myself and people don't think that, like, I'm worth, like, being friends with or think that I'm weird, I've realized, like, that's okay, and I don't need those people in my life. Like, I can't be friends with everyone. Not everyone is always going to like me or agree with me, and that's okay. And I've realized that when I am my true self, when I just kind of let it out wherever I am, and I don't hold back who I really am, that I think that attracts people who also want to be authentic and live like a real life where they're not pretending to be someone else. And when you are your truest self wherever you go, I think you will, like, attract other people who are, being themselves as well, and that you can find people who you really are compatible with when you're both being yourself and you're both not letting what other people think of you, like, control what you do or say or how goofy you are. And I think I'm the most confident I've ever been, and I think something that has really helped me with that is, personally, I've really been realizing, like, who I am in Jesus, and just how much he loves me and how much he cares about me, and that nothing I could ever do or no mistake I could ever make will ever make him love me less. And also, nothing I could do, no accomplishment I could ever do, no reward I could receive will ever make him love me more. And just knowing that I am fully loved and accepted by him, and that he made me the way I am for a reason, just helps with life in general. And I think it helps me remember that I don't need to strive to win other people's approval, because at the end of the day, what he thinks of me is all that matters. And just knowing that I'm always loved reminds me that, like, I could fail every test in school, I could have no friends, he would still love me, and he would still be there for me. And so I'm just really glad that, like, going into school, I knew that, because I think it helped me to not really, like, try and get attention from boys or, like, try to win approval through my grades. And I think it's just helped me from, like, a lot of hurt and heartache, just knowing that I'm already loved and that I don't have to prove myself to anyone. And I'm also really thankful that I feel like God is just every day just revealing more and more how much that just, like, I'm loved by him and how much he cares about me. And he cares about you and loves you so much too. And I pray that you just know how much he loves you and how much he fully accepts you, and that nothing you have done, you're never too far gone, and you can never make a mistake too big for him, and he will always be there for you, and he's just always waiting for you. He just wants to be your friend, and he cares about you so much. Another really big thing I've learned is to give myself permission to do things. And this is probably gonna sound really silly to a lot of people, but for me, I've kind of always been, like, a type A person. I've kind of been like a mom to myself. And so I feel like sometimes, I've always told myself, like, oh, you can't do this because you have to do this homework assignment, or you have this responsibility, or you'd be staying out too late. While I really like that I'm a responsible and conscientious person, personally, I still want to work really hard on my grades, because, like, I'm paying for this education myself, and so, like, I want to get as much out of it as I can. But I'm also trying to find the balance between, okay, like, are you gonna remember doing this, like, small little homework assignment that won't really impact your grade if you don't, like, spend a lot of time on it? Or are you gonna remember this really fun night, like, where you hang out with your friends and have awesome and meaningful conversations? And so I'm just trying to, like, zoom out more and look at the bigger picture, and just find the balance between still working hard and taking responsibility with all the things I need to do, but also, like, kind of, like, relaxing and allowing myself to, like, have a little bit more fun than I've allowed myself in the past. I also have realized that I am not the grades that I get, and I've kind of released that emotional connection to my schoolwork. Again, while I'm still trying hard to do well on my assignments, I'm not as phased if I get a bad grade on a test, and I just know I'm well, I tried the best I could. Even though this is a really bad grade, I'm proud of myself for working hard and just trying my best. Another thing that I have learned, and I'm still learning, and I always will be learning because I will never be perfect at this, but I think I've learned a lot more about what it looks like to be a good friend. And I've met some amazing people this semester who I would definitely consider some of my best friends, and I think we're going to be good friends for a really long time. I just love how, I think first of all, we assume the best in each other. I think we've been good about not assuming something bad about a friend if something happened or they said something that didn't sit right with us. And I think another thing that is just so important in healthy friendships is to encourage one another and be happy with each other when good things happen. Be the first person to be oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you, that's so happy, I'm so happy for you, and just kind of being that person to just cheer them on, be happy when they're happy, rejoice when something good happens to them, and also being when they're sad, to be sad with them and say, I'm so sorry you're going through this, I don't even understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you, and I'm here to just sit with you if you want to be sad, and to just be with them through the highs and the lows. My camera just died, but basically I've learned that really good and healthy friendships come from assuming the best about each other, being the first people to encourage and be happy with the other person, and also being there through their low moments, and being the shoulder to cry on, being sad with them, and just not talking about each other behind the other person's back. I think those are all really important things, and I'm not perfect at any of those things, but I think I've grown in that area. I hope I've grown in that area, and just being a better friend in general. Another thing I've learned this year is that just because I'm at the bottom of the totem pole on campus again, just because I'm a freshman, does not mean that I am insignificant. I think a lot of times I tell myself oh, you're younger than this person, you can't be with friends with them because they don't want to be around you because you're not as old as they are. But I'm realizing in college, people don't really care anymore. I feel like people do in high school. People don't care what grade you are. It's just a cool to see oh, this is kind of how the adult world is. People don't really, once you're an adult, and it doesn't really matter how old you are. But I really love the Bible verse in 1 Timothy 4:12. It says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." And I just really love that because I think it's kind of saying just because you're young doesn't mean you're insignificant and doesn't mean you can't make a difference. And so that I'm learning, just because just because I'm younger than this person doesn't mean that I can't give them advice in this situation, or just because I'm younger doesn't mean that I'm a nobody, I can still be a friend and I can support other people just because I'm younger than them. And yeah, this might sound like another well, duh, Abby, but I've really started to internalize it that it doesn't really matter anymore how old you are. You can still make a difference and you can still have an impact on other people even if you are younger than them. Another thing that I've learned is that God cares about the little things, and at the beginning of this semester, I felt like God was telling me start praying for more specific things. And I was okay, that's kind of weird, because I think that a lot of times we can get it in our head that God doesn't care about this detail, this tiny detail. He doesn't care about this little thing going on in my life. But I realized when I start praying about specific things, for example, at the beginning of this semester, I was man, God, I just really want to have a friend group. And it felt like, I don't know, it felt kind of silly to ask for some reason. At the beginning of the semester, I just started praying, like, God, please bring me some friends that will be there with me along, like, walking right next to me in my faith, and that we can have fun together and do cool things together. And it was so cool because, like, as I was praying that, I didn't even realize that over time he started bringing these people, these girls into my life, and then now it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is our friend group, and they are encouraging, and we do fun things together, and we do our faith, like our walks of faith together, and it's just really cool to see that God hears us. He doesn't not care about the tiny details of our lives. Like, he cares about every little thing. Another thing that I've learned this year from living away from home is kind of making my faith my own. I grew up in a Christian household, and so I've always gone to church and the youth group and done all the churchy things. But once you move out, like, you don't have anybody telling you to do anything. It's all, you get to choose what you want to do. You get to choose how you spend your time. Nobody's making you do anything. And I just realized, I'm like, my faith is either going to be my own or it's not, and I'm just not going to spend time on it. And following God in college can be hard because nobody is making me do anything, and it's all on me, and it's all my choice. And so I realized it's kind of like all or nothing. Like, I don't want to be in this weird middle ground where it's kind of like meh. It's like, it's either, my faith is either going to be a part of my life or it's not. And this past year, I think, God has really asked me, like, are you all in? Are you all in? Like, do you want this to be your life or do you not? And I think, over the past year, I've just been like, yes, like, this is what I want to live my life for. This is what gives me meaning. This is what brings me more joy than anything I have ever found in the world. And it's, following God, honestly, is like the funnest thing I have ever done. And I feel so fulfilled and so at peace, like, even when crap happens and even when sad things happen. And I know that God is with me even when I don't understand what is happening. And I'm just so glad that I've chosen to follow him, and like, I've decided to follow Jesus, and like, I know I'm never gonna turn back. Anyways, so there's this quote by C.S. Lewis that I love, and it says, "Relying on God has to begin all over again every day as if nothing had yet been done." And that is so true, because every day when I wake up, when I get out of bed, I can either decide, okay, God, I'm going to live today for you, or I can just ignore him and just go about my day and not think about him. And every single day that I choose, I say, God, I'm going to live this day for you. I want to go where you want me to go. That is the best. It's always the best day when I choose, God, your will be done, not mine. Because even in my head, if my plan can seem so much greater than his, but his always turns out so much better. And that's another thing that I'm learning, is that, like, my plan a lot of the time seems so awesome in my head, and then it usually, a lot of times, most of the time, it doesn't end up panning out. And I'm like, well, dang it, like, now what am I gonna do? And then God's like, no, see, that's not what I had for you. This is what I have for you. And this is how I'm gonna work in your life instead. And anyways, every day that I choose to live my life for God, and every situation that I go into and I say, God, what do you want me to do? It's always so much better, and it's so cool to see God work. And I know that I've placed my life into no better hands than his, because Jesus is like the greatest storyteller, and he knows what he's doing with my life. And I trust him more than anything. And I know that his plan that he has for me is so much better and so greater than anything I could ever come up with on my own. Oh wait, the last major thing that I've learned is that keeping the relationships with my family is so important. I'm only going to be in school for a couple years, but my family, my parents, and my siblings, they're going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And I need to remember that even though I'm not living with them anymore, like, people come and go, but family is forever. And that's, like, my mom has always told me that, and it's a cliche, but it's so true. I want to remember that keeping them a priority in my life, reaching out to them when I can, calling them when I can, is so important. Like, it's good to live in the moment here at school and do my own thing, but I've been remembering that, like, okay, I need to call my brothers, I need to FaceTime my sister, I need to call my mom, I need to call my dad, because I want to keep my relationship with them really strong, because, like, I love them more than anybody else on the earth, and I want to, like, show them that, and I want to show them, like, even though I'm 4 hours away from you guys, I still love you so much, and I think about you all the time, and I care about our relationships, and I want to, like, upkeep them and maintain them, because, yeah, I'm gonna be living the rest of my life with them, and at the end of the day, like, they are my best friends. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up or a comment, a little chit chat in the comment section, whatever you like to do. And I don't know, I just love making these videos. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And just know that you're so loved, and you're here for a reason. You're here on purpose. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.